Hello, MEC. How's it like in Midwest cities? We're 1,000 miles away, but hey, tonight you look so pretty. Welcome to the MEC Pod. My name is Travesty. I'm joined here with my co-casters, my cohorts, my romancers. We're not wearing plain white tees. We're in an assortment of different kinds of clothing. But I got Shibby and Mac. How are you two lovely gentlemen doing?
I'll go. We always go me first. I'm doing good. Holding in a lot of things. I gotta let it out.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what the MEC's
You
about.
got
Mac, you're giggling like a schoolgirl over there. You gotta be in a good mood.
Well, it should be. Usually I start things off when it's just you and me on the cast, so I like to mix things up for the podcast, let you get a little intro in first, and then I get to kind of play around with it a little bit afterwards. But I'm super excited. Guys, regular season finished up, man. We got playoffs coming up. I'm super hyped about it.
I feel like regular season passed, right? Like,
yeah,
it went super quick. Like, I can hark back to the first week I casted with Mac and met Travis and all this stuff, and now it's like fast forward like a month and a half later.
Yeah, and then hey, look, think about it like this too. We started this MEC pod, didn't have any sponsors or anything like that. Now we do, and I do want to give a shout out to those people. The South Shore Convention and Visitors Authority, looking for things to do and places to see along the South Shore with miles of beaches and unique attractions. The possibilities are endless. Go out and explore and visit alongthesouthshore.com. Start your planning now. And then also shout out to AVDG. AVDG is a leading nationwide commercial and residential smart system integrator. Spanning from coast to coast, AVDG is able to meticulously design and engineer systems, provide expert technology design services, professional installation, and world-class service across the U.S. Through distinctive designs, AVDG pioneers technology to empower end users to operate systems effortlessly, improve connectivity, position their investment for maximum long-term success. AVDG maintain and secure the success of their technologies through their extensive simplicity service division that works continuously to monitor, adjust, and prevent system errors. So shout outs to them. Gentlemen, I'm gonna be real with you. This was like a very, very chaotic week too. We were talking about the season. I lost my voice on Saturday's games actually for like at the very end of game one of GVU and them. I my voice, like the very last call, there were so many back-to-back team fights that were so close. Yeah. I had the voice crack come in the middle of a call. Like I was like, do it. It was so bad.
Dude, I know exactly how you feel because I'll do the same thing. When I get hype, I don't like necessarily get like, I just like go into like the WWF announcer. Mac knows. I'll be like, and he goes, and I'm like, oh, this is definitely not good. Table. Yeah. I'm like, it's hype. Like I'll see it in chat. Like, damn, this caster's going hard. I'm like, oh, my throat does not like me.
I usually can do it just fine though. The bad thing is where I'm at, pollen's in like full force to the point that it's like a mist of pollen outside, and my allergies are killing me. So combine that with like a ton of drainage already there, and my throat's already sore. It was just like, you've done too much.
I feel that on a spiritual level, Travis D. I've been popping Allegra like a mad lad, but oh my goodness,
no, this
we
is
have
the
a
clip.
play. This is when it happened.
Killian!
Killian!
Oh,
wow.
Look at
Mark! Look at this. Ottawa, was this the first point in the game they kind of got a gold lead, and then they instantly win?
Yes, that was the hero
they just
play.
insta-won.
Yeah,
wow.
That was the hero play. That was why I was, we were talking about it after the game, and I was just like, yo, Killian's my MVP. That's my GOAT right there. After that kind of a performance inside of a series, like, if Killian doesn't make that play, they lose. And Killian was down bad, down horrendously inside of that game, but versus Brink's win. So, it was good. It does lead me into a question. We're going to get into that a little bit further on. That was a little bit of a tease. I want to ask you, gentlemen, we actually had a question. This is actually a question that came in through the comment section, I believe. So,
nice.
Hey, look, we listen. We listen. What champion do we think would be a good caster? What are you guys thinking? I'm gonna real quick. I feel like I need to ban Draven from this because Draven has the announcer skin. So I feel like
no. Let's do base skins. Let's be fair. Base skins, base voice only, right? Because if you do skins, like then you could go into like Galaxy Slayers. That obviously, like you said, the announcer Draven. Like if we do base like Cho'Gath, you're telling me the fancy spans Cho'Gath wouldn't be an elite?
Kog'Maw.
Yeah, like there's.
Can you imagine like a big fight happens and like he finishes out the call and he's like, and they're gonna secure the Nexus. Like imagine that. That would be great. I'm Kog'Maw. My answer's there.
That was a really good. Yo, am I playing League right now? That's why your throat hates you, Travis. By the way, I damn well know. I damn well know that your throat didn't like that one. Okay, so base skins and base voice, right? So like
I'm locked in. Kog'Maw.
Kog'Maw. All right. Well, Travis says Kog'Maw. He's already explained why. I've got two choices, and they're for different reasons.
Shibby. Yeah.
It's Aurelion Sol for the first one because if we keep his, that's the synergy.
On God. Yeah.
Because his
crossed
voice.
My mind.
If you like echo it, right? If like he has that big booming and like, you know, I think he's one of those. I think he's also a caster that would just be like, if you mess up, he'd be like, well, you're bad. Like that was horrible. Him, and then I also have a soft spot for Corky. I just like love the way Corky talks. Like I love his old voice lines and everything like that. It's like an old man. It's kind of like an old man commentating League. And I've been on the TikTok binge where that one guy, like Dad Games, Old Man Gaming, the Urgot who got coached by like Max Waldo. I've been just on that binge. So those two. I think Aurelion Sol's number one for me though.
Okay. I used to have a misunderstanding, by the way, with Corky, where back when he would be like, I'm up 2 snuffs or something like that. And the voice line for the longest time, I thought it said, I'm up 2 snuffs and I gotta pee. And I was just like, why does he have to pee? That doesn't make any sense. Why is that in the League of Legends game?
Right.
I just need to insert that in there.
Well, it's funny because he'll go zoo like randomly through it. And I'm just
maybe that's him peeing.
Fun fact for the podcast though. Producer Hyper here saying apparently Mac and Shibby want to hear a casted by Madara. Because Aurelion Sol shares a voice actor with Madara Uchiha from Naruto.
He's the English VO. Oh, you know, that is the connection. Yeah.
Filthy weebs. You guys,
my guy, you have 2 Final Fantasy portraits in your background. You have no room to talk.
That's what I was about to say. I just have a staircase, okay? Like that's staircase to heaven or whatever. Mac,
Shibby, don't go up.
No, I'm down there in the little attic.
Mac,
okay. Aurelion,
are you staying with your weeb answer? Hold on. Now that you know that this would out you as a weeb.
Oh, whoa.
No, I'm not one of those anime watching weebaroos or
those weeaboos.
The weeaboos.
For the champions that I was thinking about, you know, I was wondering as a play-by-play, you know, who would I really appreciate getting to sit down in the booth with? Who do I want my color caster to be? You know, in an ideal world, Shibby drops dead. He goes up the stairs, kingdom to heaven. He's gone for the rest of playoffs. Rip Shibby. Who am I bringing in from the cast? My first thought was Heimerdinger. For the analytical brain, kind of zany, wacky. I can bounce some things off of him. I was also thinking of Vel'Koz as someone sort of giga-brain. And, like, I really like Vel'Koz's voice for, like, when he's running through, like, his anti-life equation and stuff, breaking down draft, you know, be like, this is why they freaking suck and they shouldn't have picked this person. This person's just gonna get absolutely destroyed. Look at the numbers, Mac. Look at the numbers. They back it up. So that's what I was thinking But Aurelian Soul on God did cross my mind. I was like Heimerdinger, Vel'Koz, and I was like, ooh, Aurelian Soul is quite spicy. You know, I could really have like a Morgan Freeman or David Attenborough type podcast with him where we just shoot the crap and and go through life.
I like
honorable
it. I like
mention.
It.
Honorable mention is Tom Kench for like absolute flame lord. But that's the only. Yeah, he would be
My
the
honor.
honorable mention.
My honorable would be the master of goo himself, Zach. Just thinking about Zach on the mic with you, just like, oh yeah, like he has that voice too. He'd be like,
I like
yeah,
how we chose
man.
none of the human characters. We chose none of the humanoid characters, by the way, unless Corky's like the closest you'll get.
The human character I was thinking of was actually like Aurelia, and it was not for any basis besides when you ban her, she goes, Tyrant! Or something. Like, that's the only basis I had. I was like, okay, that could be fun. But no. All right, I like it. So we got Kog'Maw, we got Daddy Soul, and then we got Heimer or Vel'Koz, right?
Yep.
That's a pretty sick lineup. That's a pretty high. That's a pretty nice.
That's a goated caster lineup. I'm not gonna lie.
I think so too. Put that on the announcement. Oh, okay. That's on Net's cosplays actually that we just revealed.
I'll try to go voice changer and then do Aurelian Soul. Like that. As like the triple echo. I'm just gonna mess with Hyper next cast. I'm just gonna mess with my own audio interface.
It's gonna be a surprise too. It'll be 5 minutes.
A wise choice.
Yeah, see, that could be your opening. Every single time he locks in a good champion, he's like, indeed. That's
the perfect counter pick.
Well, talking about things that are perfect or maybe not so perfect, I do want to talk about the playoffs. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. We're in different clothing now. We had to do a bit of a reshoot. Things change, That's pretty cool, right? So, you're going to notice that we're going to change clothes instantaneously. No, we have not learned a new skill in life. No, we cannot teach you this skill in life. Please stop asking about me about this new skill I've learned in life, or all we've learned in life. We can't teach you. Sorry. But with everything that's changed, basically, we had some updates in regards to the bracket. ONU is not going to be able to compete inside of playoffs. That changed a lot of things that we were talking about, a lot of narratives that we had. And here we actually have the new bracket that's coming up. So, changes everything. It changes a lot of our discussions that we had when we previously recorded. I ran in here. Guys, I don't know about you. I didn't even have a chance to put pants on.
I've just been wearing the same thing since the morning.
You guys normally wear pants during these? I always assumed it was just like a no pants.
Well, I don't wear pants when I cast. When I cast, I don't wear pants. Which is a big reason why I'm not at the LAN, actually. To confirm. It's because my back. So,
I don't wear socks.
No, Hyper, I have showcased my thighs live on broadcast before. Don't make me do it here. But anyway.
They gotta be white. There's no way they're tanned up, Travis.
You don't know.
I could create a pretty good mental image.
Oh, I bet you've thought of that mental image many a time.
100.
But
at night.
Before we continue and go back through some of the topics that we are reshooting here, I did want to go ahead and give everybody a moment, an ode, a requiem of sorts to Ohio Northern as their journey does end here. And they have been a team that I know has been beloved on broadcast. Mac, go ahead, throw it away. What do you want to say?
Where to begin? I mean, the 4th place team taking an early bow out. I mean, first making us reshoot the podcast. That's a red flag. What the heck, man? But in all seriousness, I feel like ONU gave us a lot of our most exciting series overall, between Kai's playmaking, Cuz's playmaking, Kato's playmaking. They're going to be sorely missed in the playoff bracket, I think. I hope that they just enjoy the rest of the school year overall. And just want to thank them for all the great matches out on the Rift. It's been a pleasure Long live the king. As we get a quick clip of Kai popping off, showing us just how well.
It's not just Kai.
Even
brothers.
Kato. Shout out Kate. I remember. I don't think I'll forget this highlight of the season. Kato versus ISO early on, and we were like, oh, Kato playing the Akali? Okay, let's see what he got. And then he takes down ISO on his own champ. Legendary stuff from ONU this season.
I'm gonna cry. Chippy, please, before I start crying.
Yeah, I think ONU probably has one of the most respected players, right, across like all the conversations I have. I know Dre here thinks very highly of Kai. I know a lot of the other players and a lot of the other coaches are like, yeah, Kai he should be MVP, right? Like depending on how you value it. I think the rest of the team, right? I'm an aggression fan. Right, I'm a big aggression fan. I mean, it's
the Udyr, isn't it?
I mean, it's the name, it's the way he plays, it's who he is. Like, I think this team would have done some massive damage, honestly, in the playoffs. There is a world where you see them in like grands, right? I think the top four, there's a very high chance for each of those teams to kind of make it to grand finals. I think it's the most open you've seen MECB travesty. So I think it's interesting and unfortunate that they don't get to make it in. I would have loved to see that. I know I saw Kai's Twitter. He said I'll be back, right? So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for Return of the King, man. I'm waiting for Return of the King.
I love it too, because you also gave me a new meme in the fact of that I can't use throughout all playoffs now. But you gave me the idea of, instead of EA Sports, it's in the game, it's aggression. It's in the name. You know, like, that's pretty good. I have that now, and I'm like, man, I can't use that. Why? There's so many heartfelt moments. This is the team. I dubbed him King Kai from the very beginning. I always do.
You crowned him, man.
I crowned him.
You crowned him.
Walked away with the crown. The throne's still there. Everybody else is chasing it.
Now we've got Game of Thrones for playoffs.
Oh no, winter is coming. But this has been a team that
we don't have a season 8.
They've been great. They've been an enjoyable team. I've loved every single player that's been in here, from Cuz's turnaround with the Alistair against OU, in which it was almost I believe it was OU. It was either OU. No, it was GVU actually. They had an Alistair turnaround against GVU, and it was like this huge game-changing play that almost won them the game. To Kai being the king that they are, to Kaito getting the pop off in the later halves of the seasons, showcasing their Silas Akali aggression, having a meme that I can't use anymore. I gotta wait. I hope that we get more of it, but I mean the entirety
it's going in the caster notebook.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, this ONU's entire roster was like really good, and even like topside, right? Like they played weak side a lot of times. Wiederum was always like down to be that person that played that weak side, so the rest of the team can kind of do what they wanted. It was a great team. It was a great discussion for MVP. But we bid adieu to the Brothers of Destruction, the Kings, the aggression.
Travis, dude, before we lay ONU to rest, I just want to pay one last tribute to Viderum's base defense on the Kennen. Just when Shibi and I thought the game was over, Viderum's slicing maelstrom destroyed the hopes of, I think it was PNW. And it was, I think, the most immaculate base defense, one of the top ones I've ever seen. So, with that note, I will ship them off, give them the proper respect and tribute here on the MEC podcast.
Oh, miss you!
The torch has been taken out.
The 21 gun salute.
We do need to go ahead and revisit some of the topics that we were going through. The playoff
Mm-hmm.
bracket, how it looks. There's a lot of changes that actually get implemented by this. First seed now gets a bye, which I'm very glad about. I know amongst the casters, that's what we were really hoping would happen, because the original bracket made it look like the 5th seed team would get the bye, but they did make the adjustment. They were able to do that. Just makes sense for the first seeded team to get the reward of having that first round bye. But this does have other implications. If we could, I would love to have that bracket actually pop up again here. And I do want to kind of go over it now that we have this graphic. I'm going to start with you, Shibby, in regards to this playoff bracket. You can see it here. This shakes the things up quite a bit. You got any immediate thoughts looking at it?
I mean, I think the banger of this bracket is just Briarcliff PNW, right? I think their games have gone. Like me and Mac, I think have casted both of them, and they've just literally gone the distance. I've actually spoken with Afternoon, by the way. Or it's the Afternoon. It's he's the head coach for Briarcliff University, and one of the things he says is that, you know, I asked him pretty deep questions recently. I asked all the coaches, everybody. It's like, what was some of the regrets and mistakes you made during the season? And obviously that's in the shared doc for you guys. But he said that we tested a lot of things, are looking to try a new wild quotation mark strat, but won't share it until shown, which is, I'm assuming, playoffs. And then he added, and no, it doesn't involve Skarner. So like now the hype is built for me.
No.
Right?
No, BS. No, it has Skarner.
No, and now
Skarner
I'm trying to wrap my head around what this wild strat is. I'm hoping they do it. I think right now, Purdue Northwest, like, I strike when the iron's hot, right? Like, they lost their last series. They had to forfeit the other ones. Like, they're not, you know, going into this playoff series with the best mindset, I would suspect. And I think Briarcliff, you know, we could get an Ottawa versus Briarcliff match here that could really, like, you know, if this wild strat works, if they haven't got other stuff, like, it's the Afternoon, man. He's a mad scientist. He's definitely got some stuff cooking. I think BCU has the players, and Mac's dark horse pick is looking a little bit better now, right? Because all they have to do is really win their first match, and then they'll get into, like, you know, if they lose to Ottawa, they can make a deep run in losers. Like, it's not impossible. They would have to face Illinois, probably, like, Drury, right? Assuming the playoff bracket goes the way we expect. I mean, we could see that. We could see Briarcliff go third, really.
Yeah, I was about to actually say, this is also the closest team, I feel like, in terms of, like, against each other as well, with Briarcliff and Purdue kind of having their own weaknesses throughout the season, and both teams shifting things around. So I think this is that's actually a really valid place to look.
Building on that travesty, my eyes are on the bottom side of that upper bracket. And what I think brings me the most happiness about it is the implications from the regular season that have now impacted playoffs. Because Ottawa, GVU, both series head-to-head, they tied 1-1, but GVU ended up dropping an additional game, and that's going to put them in early, stressful playoff situations, with them potentially going up against the third seed Illini in winners semifinals very early on. They could get sent down into sudden death after struggling against them a little bit during the regular season. I'm curious to see what exactly both of the teams are going to be bringing on to the Rift for that semifinal matchup, you know, and really, Shibby, kudos to you, man. You've always been on top of talking with the coaches and stuff. I think it's super exciting thinking about from a strategic standpoint, what do they want to show? Teams like Grandview and Illini are going to be thinking about later on in the playoffs what exactly they want to play against Ottawa, what they want to leave secret, what do they want to surprise some of these teams with. For GVU, they might have to pull out some of those stops early on against Illini, might make things potentially more difficult for Ottawa if they even get to that point at all. So very interesting bottom half of the bracket, And additionally, for that first round, I think my favorite matchup might be Illini versus Drury, simply because those two teams have had just the absolute wackiest drafts throughout the regular season. So those two getting another head-to-head against each other is something I'm looking forward to.
I'm calling it right now. Drury's about to be the Undertaker down there in the lower bracket. I firmly believe that this team will find themselves in the lower bracket, but they are a team that nobody really wants to get seeded against. This team is the 7th seed, but it feels like they really have been finding themselves, and they're very unique. You talked about that just a moment ago, Matt, where they are willing to draft some wacky stuff, but every single time they do it, it has a rhyme and reason, which I really respect. They're not picking cheese for the sake of, we're gonna throw a left hook here just to see if it catches you off guard. No, there is a reason, there is a plan, there is an orthodox reasoning that they have come up with inside their team strategically to make sure that they can get an advantage over their team. And that's one of the things I love the most about CLO is all these players bringing their own unique strengths into it. And boys,
Gentlemen,
look, it's double elim. We have a situation in some of these matchups that we're talking about. We could see the matchup happen twice. It's very real. Yeah. There is a world that exists where Braves go on throughout. They get into winners finals and they knock down the winner of Illinois taking on GVU, right? Whoever wins, they go against them. They get knocked down. All of a sudden, we got a rematch on our hands between two teams that have gone 2-1, and we have hyped up Braves versus GVU, and I love the fact that you brought this up, Matt, because there is a very realistic aspect of it happening if you just look at seeding.
Yep.
You find yourself in such a crazy situation here where these two teams, where Braves and GVU have been the most hyped teams, this series might actually be more hype than those two in comparison, because the other ones, well, they've been good series, and they've been these big 2-0s, these big finishes. There's something about two team fighting teams that specialize in the same matter, going head to head, big monster versus big monster, It sells tickets, right?
Yep.
Everybody went to see Godzilla versus whatever.
Sunday. That's what, I like to think. We could actually get 2 series of GVU Illini like that.
Yeah,
that's like the wet dream right there, right? Like you see them, you one of them, it's upper bracket. Ottawa knocks them down, and then you just see both of them battle it out in the losers finals. In theory, right? Assuming everything goes correctly, everything goes according to a season. We could realistically see 2 series between these teams, and I'm for it, man, because these two teams, they've traded 1-for-1 this season. Like I love how you mentioned it, Travesty. Like Ottawa GVU. Everybody's been talking about that, dude. Yeah, like you said, Illini GVU could really that test the draft, because you've played them twice. You're gonna play them 2 more times. You know what you know what you want. The meta's not gonna change too much during the playoffs, right? From this week and next week. I don't think we're getting a patch next week. I don't think we're getting a patch next Wednesday. So
there's one major change I do want to bring up, because you said that. Yumi's in there.
Yeah, that's getting banned. There's no way that's getting. By the way, I'm sorry. If any team lets that through out of ego or whatever, that's not going through. I think it got hot fixed.
Who do you think is the first team to pick it, though? Is somebody
Illinois College?
They got to buy, and they're going to be the first one.
Ottawa. No. I mean,
Code has been fiending to play the cat. You're right.
No, I think it's gonna get banned by every other team, and I think someone is gonna have to come up with some wacky draft strategy. Like if we bait, like the mind games, right? Like remember, you used to, way back in the day, you would give Zeri Yumi, because then you could have a counter to it when it was busted. But most people try to counter it. You'd run like Lulu Cog or whatever, right? Something else. There's all this, you let OP picks through because you want to bait them into the OP pick. So I think that might be a strategy against Ottawa, and putting Coda on Yumi might actually just be the move. Because it's like, do you want to give that away if you both leave it up in draft? Like if you leave it up on red side, which I'm assuming you have to leave up on. If you have to ban it on red side. I don't think that character is going through, dude. Like I would not be surprised if we don't see it.
Can you imagine Coda's sanity if they go from permanently being forced to play Ash to being like, all right, now you're on Yumi, dude?
the Yumi. Yeah, I would. That would be
Because it's
such
like,
a
please
like.
stop it,
Support
guys.
life, huh? Isn't this a
Levi's
fun
like-
role?
Levi's like, yeah.
Take my cannon now.
We're best friends. It's literally like
You
what's
and
gonna
me,
happen.
book.
Oh goodness.
Oh no, yeah, I'm yeah. Other barring that disgusting champion, I think she did get a hot fix, but she's still really good.
She did. She's still good though. She's still really
Yeah.
good. She has not been
I-
declawed by any means.
I don't think anything's happening with that champion anytime soon in the MEC. If it does get through, I'd be very surprised.
Well, let me ask then, because we did kind of touch on it for a moment there while going
Yep.
through our incredible devotion and love to the champion that is Yumi. I could hear it in Shibi's voice, right? Do you guys have any potential upsets that have changed around? Because now that the bracket shifted quite a bit, I know a lot of us had different options that were popping up. Does this change some of the things that you guys, of course, the viewers won't be able to see what our initial one was, but does it make you feel any certain way now that we have this bracket change? And you've had more time to think about it too, technically.
I think if we deem anything an upset as a lower seeded team beating an upper seeded team, I genuinely think the Purdue Northwest BCU one would be like the most likely.
I don't know. I don't know if I would consider that an upset though. Would you consider that an upset? I think these two teams are actually pretty close. Like I don't know. If
like I said,
upset.
if we're saying that an upset is a lower seeded team beating an upper seeded team, then yes. But if we're going off of like the eye test and what we've seen, then
What are the,
100% the
Vegas
biggest
odds?
upset. Yeah. What's the under?
Where's your heart at? What's your heart say? We don't listen to our heart enough. Okay, what's your heart say?
I definitely think Illinois beating GVU would be bigger than Drury beating.
Yeah.
Illini.
Yeah. I agree with that.
That's the biggest upset. I
Can
feel
you-
like.
Can you imagine GVU entering lower bracket like round 1?
No.
They would be on something fierce, dude. They would be on like this is the thing, right? If any of those two upsets happen, if GVU or Illini reach lower bracket round 1, I feel bad for any team going down there, dude, because they're gonna be on something fierce, man. Those top 3 teams are head and shoulders, like clearly have very, very defined play styles and strengths that they just execute much better, right? I think Drury has the biggest upset potential, in my opinion, because they've got their jungler back and their AD carry back.
Yeah.
Fat Cat is a lot more confident into going into teams. I think I've talked to him recently. He's just said, like, GVU is still one of the hardest teams to kind of fight into for them. Like, they feel like they can match Ottawa's aggression. They feel like they're okay into Illini. So I think, I think Drury, they're a team that, like you said, Travesty, nobody's really paying attention. Nobody's really respecting them. And it's going to be up to the coaching staff and whatever analysts that are there to be like, hey, you got to look at these like past couple games. Like they got some shooters, man. Like
Mac, who you shooting for though?
Mac 10.
Well, something that kind of popped into my mind here really is the potential impact of winning this whole shindig, the whole thing. Whoever takes the number 1 place prize is going on to the major CLOL tournament. And I think whoever wins it could really make a running for the finals, can really compete with some of the top teams in the country, which I think is really exciting. But going back to talking about potential upsets here, PNW versus Briarcliff, Shibi, I think I'm on the same page with you as pretty close series. Briarcliff has had a better regular season, though, over the final stretch. Keep in mind, I think Purdue Northwest dropped games to both Illinois College and the Drury Panthers. So it has been a 180 for this team from last year to now. And I wonder in Toponer's final season here, if they're going to be able to find some playoff mojo, get their feeling back, get their groove back. I think against Briarcliff, I'm looking for them. That's kind of where I think they need to go to kind of get back in their groove. Looking at the bottom half of the graphic, Travesty, I think it's a bold shot. It is a mile away for, I think, Illinois College or Drury Panthers to get upsets against these two teams, just from what we've seen through the regular season. But looking at my Vegas odds, looking at my crystal ball, I think I'm kind of leaning towards, if it's gonna happen, if I'm a March Madness connoisseur, since it is March and leaning into the madness a little bit, I think I'm looking at Drury over Illini as being a little bit more likely than Illinois College taking down GVU.
All right, you guys are giving me a lot of mights, a lot of maybes, a lot of
it's tricky, Travis.
A lot of
I don't
tricky.
know, man.
You know, this is there's a bracket. You know, there's
Roll Tide.
Apparently they're picking Alabama. That's Roll Tide. Blah. But I will say, right? You guys are giving me a lot of maybes, a lot of mins. Let me just tell you something. Biggest chance that just came up, okay? Drury Panthers, if you're listening to me, this is your chance right now, right? You can show them you got that Panther inside of you. You have those claws. You're ready to tear them apart. This bracket shifting around is actually pretty huge. Before, when this bracket all shifted around, it was going to be Illinois College going up against the side of Ottawa Braves. That doesn't happen anymore. Everybody is focusing on now Illinois College. Oh, you got to take on GVU. Well, they're really good at team fighting. You know what's great about GVU? They are hella structured. They know what they are going into. They have a strategy. They have a plan. Castle acts as the cohesive glue that keeps everything together. There is a reason why I had him on my MVP ballot. Guess who you don't have to go into, Drury Panthers? You don't have to go into them. You don't need to fight GVU just yet until second round of the winner's bracket of the upper bracket after you take on Illinois. That's what I'm looking at. Illinois is good at team fight. There's a little bit of chaos. There's more kinks in the armor. There's more gaps for you to be able to dip those claws into and rip that armor a shred. So, you know what? Drury Panthers, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Show us what you got. The whole team is together. The power of friendship, whatever you want to call it. I'm ready. I want to see GVU in the upper bracket taking on Drury Panthers. No mites or maybes for your boys.
And Travesty, building on your point, I like the Panthers on the prowl in the top lane, perhaps. A Silak versus Mastermind seems a lot better for Mastermind than Mastermind versus Pranked. So, hey, there we go.
That's my point. Yeah.
It could happen.
The matchup, it's like, top side of the map, you don't have to go against Prank.
Yeah.
Talk about this all day. I could talk about this all day, but we really, I gotta ask, because we're going through and we're reminiscing already about like the all these teams in the playoffs, all these teams, their journey up. I gotta ask you guys, what's your favorite moment right now? Because like it feels like we're going through reminiscing, and we're reminiscing heavily as we're talking about this playoff picture, but realistically, I'm gonna give you guys just a platform. I'm gonna give you guys the platform to tell me what your favorite moment. It could be on broadcast, it could be on Twitter, it could be something magnificent that Jay did because Jay is awesome. You could have any moment that you possibly want that you can highlight throughout the MEC. What would you highlight?
I think I'll do two separate ones. I'll do an in-game one, and then I'll do out of game. So out of game obviously includes Twitter, interviews, or anything like that. So I think we can just start with our in-game one, and then we'll just move around.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea. I like that idea actually.
I think there's two in-game moments that kind of pop off in my mind or in my head. One of them I got to cast, and it was quite obviously it was over a span of a couple minutes. It was just honestly Loveheart getting 15 turret plates in like one of the earliest. This was like our introduction to Illini, right? Like we were like, all right, they look kind of good. Like, what are they gonna bust out? They throw the Shoshana. I'm like, all right, it's a pretty good matchup in this area. Yeah. 5 turret plates down, 5 here, 5 top. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a lot of gold. I think Hyper brought the gold graph in. He was like 2 to 2.5 thousand gold ahead of everybody else, and I was like, oh, oh, this is a team. Like this, like 15 turret plates. Like that's kind of wild. That was one of the moments, and I think just kind of based off of recency bias. Like I said, that the Killian Gnar flash Gnar into the shockwave. When I saw that live, I was just like, oh, like did they just lose? And it's just over after that. It was like kind of wild how many people he got with that. So I think those are the two moments. I could definitely go back through all of Twitter. I could definitely go back through all of the Twitch clips and find more.
Grab the receipts.
I think there's, yeah, no, there's like a Kai Quadra in there where he like beautifully kited out like from mid all the way down to river. I think it was what he did. Like there's a couple in there, but I think those two like for me are really cemented as the in-game moments specifically.
Yeah, sort of building on that, Chibi, from last week for me, looking back, I remember we were kind of going through our sort of prep for day 2 and kind of talking. We watched the Ottawa GVU game separately, and we were going through and just talking about sort of what stood out from that series. And the balls on Ottawa to go for Baron down so far, and they understood the composition completely. They were like, we can go for this objective, we can sneak it. We went back, looked at the replay. It takes them 10 seconds. They start Baron, we're looking at the mini map, and we're like, this is the game state, this is what's going on here, look at this. They recognize GVU's not paying attention, and then they just send it, and then like Prank or Pluto and Castle are like running up river to check the objective, just to, like, get vision control, and then it goes down. And I just can't imagine what's going through the GVU comms where they're like, what just happened? Did they really just like take that? What the heck? They just barely want to fight. We're resetting the map, and like this is what they go for. That really stood out to me as some next level shot calling that just gets me so excited for playoffs. I hope we get a best of 5 between those two squads, either in winners finals, grand finals, wherever. I hope we get that. Thinking about overall favorite plays or most memorable moments, talking with the players when they're at LAN, the amount of love they show for not only just the event itself, but the MEC culture and the friendships. And like, I think what stood out for me was Silver Ritter and Lone Force being on the high school squads together, and this is like their event to come back with each other, reconnect, and just getting that sort of experience, just seeing how valuable it is and how much they appreciate it. I think was my most memorable kind of vibe from just this entire season, seeing how much the players really enjoyed the in-person activities.
I think my out of game moment would be the birthday boy one with her Udon. I think it was super early on. Like we were interviewing him.
Yeah.
And then like all of them come together and they start singing happy birthday. I was like, oh, that's a team right there. You know what I mean? Like that's a team. They got the dub as well for him. So I think that's my out of game moment. But Travis, what's your in game and out of game moment? I want to hear it. I know you guys. Okay. You've been casting for a while. You've been doing this for a bit. So I want to know. You probably have a different one for every.
Oh goodness. I mean, yes. But this season in particular, my favorite in-game moment I've got 2 that are tied up, and it's literally been just the Ottawa Braves taking on GVU series. Both of them have been great for me. I've loved both of them. I got the honor of being able to cast both of them. They both game 1s were insanely close. They were flips that happened. They were very exciting moments. I know they had me perched up on my chair like I was Batman about to descend into Gotham. I was into it. I get into every single game inside the MEC, but those ones particular, like in terms of in-game moments, in-game storytelling is such a intriguing thing. Mac even touched on that a little bit, making those calls that are so risky. But it's just like, no, it's not a risk at all. It's perfectly calculated in their heads. Yeah. They know exactly what they're going for. And even just like seeing some of the chaos of some of the players, it's good. But that's my in game. My out of game. I'm on I'm gonna be real. The interviews, just in general, inside of it, I don't think I can choose a particular one. I got to see a little bit of the footage. I believe Rebecca actually showed me some of the footage from one of the first LAN, I believe it was. I think that was the one that was at Illinois College, where they had went there. She showed me some of the footage from where they had like gone through and like some of the little games that they had going on, which was really cool to me. I really enjoy getting to see the fact that it's not just a LAN. There's also like it's an event. It's a thing for people to come and hang out. The family has something to do, even if they might not be super into some things. They understand, hey, this is like the festival. And it's cool to be able to see that stuff. And then like I said, the interviews in general too. It's like there's the Tiger Star one where ISO had to step down and he was just like, I'm autofilled Anthony and I'm bringing in the Silver Tech. Or the Team Handsome interview from Tiger Star as well, where he spent the entire interview, every time he would answer one of my questions, he would raise an eyebrow. And I'm like, bro, it's not fair, man. It's not fair. You can't get that good genetics and be good at the game too. It's not right. But then there's also like the Coda interviews. I mean, every single one of the Ottawa Braves interviews have been completely insane. Getting to see the new players that came in for GVU and how they've built their own stories, their own storylines that go along with them as individuals. MEC is just really cool. I love the fact that we get this like double round robin of just everybody getting to play against each other because we get to see how everybody kind of grows. But yeah, I love MEC. It's very nice, and the people are pretty cool. 9 times out of 10, we get shout outs to the casters too at the end of interviews. So
yeah. It's funny, honorable mention to me and Max, I think first week, Jin Call was like our first interview and he like didn't want to be there. You could tell. Like his team forced him. I think literally at the end he goes, I hate you guys. he won the game and he's like, I don't want to, business as usual. I think also a really special shout out to the Meet the Player series. I think Jay and Hyper are the two that really kind of coordinate and do all that stuff. Those are my favorite content pieces that I've seen from like MEC. I love those 100%. So much. Obviously the Lone Force one is really good, but they had the Late Punisher one too. I want to see like more. Hopefully we can get at least 2 or 3 more. Or maybe one from every team, although that's very optimistic considering how many weeks we have left. But hopefully we could get like 1 from every team, because honestly, like the time and the work and like obviously the editing and making those moments, I'll watch those and like I don't think people understand like those players and those teams will watch those like as the years go on. It's like, oh yeah, I was like in this interview, like here, meet the player. Yeah. Like I wouldn't put it behind Lone Force to like 2 years later when he's like, or 4 years later, whatever. He's got an office job. He's like, yeah, dude, I was like, they interviewed me and like, here, look, boom. Epic interview, epic meet the players. Yeah. So I really love those. I really love making or like meeting the player stuff. I've always loved that, and I'm glad MEC is like doing it.
Do you guys have like a favorite game from the split that like you got to cast? Travesty, I know you've got the bias from the Ottawa GVU games. Shibby, was it one of the either? I feel like it was either ONU versus Purdue or Illini versus Purdue. Purdue was giving us a lot of close series across the season. So shout out them for making our cast super interesting. And I feel like we got to go to a couple game 3s where they were close matches, getting our first Elder Dragons. And we were like, okay, we got to dive into this and get hype. It was going back and forth. Those are some of my favorite games to cast.
I think the ONU games are most fun because it's just like kind of watching Kai work, but also the ONU and like
let him cook.
Yeah, letting them all. Like I'm a sucker for like high level AD carry play. So like when I get to see like, items are online, like team fighting's happening, watching these guys like with some of the most fluid mechanics, even like with Levi and them, right? When I get to cast them, like these guys are just, it's dancing to me. AD carry is dancing around the map, and like the way they move,
water dancing.
It's graceful. It is really graceful the way they move. So that's always been a treat. I think all those games. I don't know if I particularly have a favorite game, but I've really been blessed with casting some really solid League of Legends.
Shout outs to the players for letting me give them nicknames all season long, by the way, and not saying that they're bad. I appreciate that.
So I've
given a lot of nicknames.
What are the other ones? Dude, you know me and Mac were calling Kai King Kai for like one of the series, and then we VOD reviewed it. We VOD reviewed it. We were like, we gotta stop doing that. And Hyper
Gotta
like,
bring it back
stop.
in.
Yeah.
I remember
King Kai
this.
one.
I remember this. Yeah, no, there was the Brothers of Destruction thing that we had going on, which was
that was sick.
that went on.
That was
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, we had a lot of nicknames that came around. They were sometimes one-offs in like certain series. Like I know I gave some to OU. I gave some to Drury. There was also one for IC, I believe, as well. So it's just like I've given nicknames to players, and I've like at the end of each interview, I'm like, all right, did you guys know that I was calling you this? Is this cool? And they're like, no, dude, this is great. I love it. And I was just like, thank you. My self-confidence needed this, so I appreciate it. But I have a least favorite moment of the MEC. Do you want to hear it?
It
I do.
involves me, I know it.
No. It's because there was some War Turtle slander all season long.
I won't stop. I will never stop. Like, I'm sorry.
You're lucky, Shibby. We don't get to meet at LAN, okay? You're lucky.
You wouldn't hurt me. I'm like 5'5". You would see me and you'd be like, well, I'm not gonna hurt this guy. Like, he's too small. Like,
it's fine. It's fine.
You're so damn cute.
Give me a hug. You're so cuddly. Ah!
I think that's the biggest surprise. I think that would be the biggest surprise because I think Mac and Hyper judged me at like 5'9", 5'8", and I was like, "Oh, you guys are flattering." I'm like 5'5.5". I think all the players would be like, "Wait, Shimmy's like, wait a minute."
We don't get the Mac Shibby side by side.
Mac is like 6 feet, by the way. Mac is like 6'2" or something, which is wild to me.
Well,
oh goodness.
Well, Shibby's safety is insured, and everything that's there. We're done here for today, boys. We're done. I want to give a shout out to AVDG and South Shore Convention and Visitors Authority, and for just making sure we're able to come out here and be able to have this lovely chat with all of you, and be able to talk about our opinions, our feelings. You can step on them and do whatever you want to with them, but.
Our
we
MEC therapy session.
This is our MEC therapy. Yes, this is the only time I get to. This is the only time I get to talk with Shibby and Mac in an area where I'm not angry, because usually Shibby makes me angry. You know, it's just how it is. So it's just it's very nice to me to be able to come out here, have my mediator Mac here. But shout outs to everybody. Shout outs to you who have been watching here. Keep tuning into the MEC. The season is not over just yet. We're still finishing off of playoffs. We still got to figure out who's going to be the number one team, who's going to punch in a for sure ticket into collegiate top 32. We're going to find out our answer, and it all starts coming up this weekend. We got games starting on Friday, and then it goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's right. We got a 3-day treat. It's a super week for the MEC. So make sure you tune in for all the action. That way you'll be able to keep up to date with all of the CLOL happenings here in the MEC. And we hope you all have yourself a fantastic day.